Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Welcome to the live stream. TGIF Coffee Crew rolling in. As everybody rolls into the live stream, to say thanks to everybody that's watching, joining us live. Don't forget to say hello so we can see who's here. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you. Always appreciate it. And make sure you leave a comment on the replay, so I know you're watching as well. It's great to have the crew all together on a Friday. Okay, Friday market, not so great, but that's okay. It's going to be the weekend soon. I think it's actually is it not a holiday on Monday? Maybe in the States it is. I'm not sure. Saw somebody talking. I was watching another live stream this morning talking about a long weekend. So I got to look that up behind the times on what's happening for the weekend. So let's get my pinned comment out of the way here, and we'll see who's here as everybody rolls in. Stan, first one in today. Morning, Stan. Hopefully you're doing well. Always good to have you here. Happy Friday. I've got my coffee. And have a sip. And Abigail here, second in line. I think Candace is still under the weather. Everybody, I haven't heard from Candace, or I left a comment on her channel yesterday, and she gave it a heart, so she's around. I think she's just a little bit under the weather. But good morning, Abigail. And I see your other comment there from Nadia. We'll get through the good. You know what? Let's try it. I tried. I don't know if this is going to work or not. This is a work in progress. Let's see if this plays and works. Let me know if you can hear it. No, I don't think so. No. Let me know if you heard that. It's supposed to be an air horn, but it plays on my end. But I have to figure out how to get it into the sound on the live stream. Or did it work? Does it play, Nadia? I can't hear it on my end when I click that button. Oh, you can hear it. There you go. Hopefully it's not too loud, because it doesn't give me. All it does is, and yes, you can. Awesome. So it doesn't give me any. It doesn't give me any playback, but I can click a button and I'll put an air horn on there. That's so silly. Anyways, let's see who else is here. MC, good morning. Always good to have you here. Start off the day right with an air horn on a Friday. So Stan gets the air horn for being the first into the stream, and Nadia as well. Good morning. Always good to have you here, TGIF. Hopefully everybody has maybe some plans for the weekend. I don't know. Nothing big planned here. And Best Weirdo, Lorenzo, hello. You spelled my name right today, but then corrected it to the wrong spelling, so that's great. Welcome. Always good. Off to a good start. Oh, it's Family Day weekend. That's right. Crazy how time flies. It's already another holiday. So Monday holiday. I think that's in every province. I think they've kind of figured that out. So it's on the same dates now, I think. Because I think Family Day, wasn't it didn't it used to be on a different day? I think from Ontario and BC and stuff like that. It was big confusion. But there we go. And the air horn is perfect. So it's okay. Good start for the change of day. So there we go. So how's everybody doing? I guess is good. Trying to always kind of pick some good news, educational news, not necessarily doom and gloom. But I have basically it's Friday, taking it easy today. I've got basically one article to share that I think would be worthwhile to talk about, because a lot of us are investing in our TFSAs and doing, investing in equities in our TFSAs and not using them as just a savings account. And so I thought I have one article on that. But if anybody has anything that they obviously want to bring up, want to mention, that's what the comments are for. Always appreciated, and you can just fire it away in the comments. If I can answer them, I'd be happy to try. If I can't, there's usually someone in the live stream that can steer you in the right direction or answer your question. So let's get into the article quickly, and then I'll give a little update on the channel, my portfolio, and then we'll go from there. So we go for about 45 minutes before my workday starts. This is my start to the day. Grab a coffee. Let's grab the first article. There we go. TFSAs and CRA. It's kind of fitting because it is tax time coming up as well too, but something to be aware of. Obviously, I think hopefully everybody knows this that's watching on the live stream. But if someone's watching on the replay, maybe don't know this. I've actually had a few kind of questions about this on comments on my channel, so I figured it'd be worthwhile to bring it up because it's kind of coming back in the news, probably partly because it's tax time and CRA needs stuff to do, right? So they're actively actually looking for people who day trade in their TFSAs. So if you didn't know this already, do not day trade in your tax-free savings account. Use that for your unregistered account, because if you do day trade, CRA considers it as a business, and you do not want to do that in your TFSA. And actually, this one brings up, we were talking about this a couple of live streams ago about some of the TFSAs like that were like up to like $1 million and kind of thing. So CRA is actually just has nailed an investor for using his TFSA in, and I'll read the article here. They started the investing right when it first started back in 2009. And what they had been doing is the tax case decided, it was earlier this month, that the taxpayer grew their TFSA to more than $617,000 from $15,000 in 3 years, actively trading penny stocks in their TFSA. Good return, but obviously not the right thing to do into your TFSA. The taxpayer was actually a Vancouver-based investment advisor, probably should have known better, opened the first TFSA at the very beginning and did it as a self-directed TFSA. Now you can trade in your TFSA, obviously, but just not more actively like that. So they actually got this guy for his TFSA had grown in value $617,371, and by the end of 2012, the market value had dropped and everything else, and then he actually transferred the proceeds of about $547,000 to himself on a tax-free basis. So they gave him a reassessment for 2009, 2010, 11, and 12 for his taxation years, and found out that he was carrying on this as a day trading as an investment business, and he got taxed quite heavily. He was taxed based on the income, and the amount here he was. The tax assessed was based on taxable income of like $44,000 in 2009, $180,000 in 2010, $330,000 in 2011, and $14,000 in 2012. That would be a hefty tax bill to have to pay, considering it's from such a long time ago. To come after him, you do not want to day trade in your TFSA. Now, the hard part about this, which makes it very confusing, is when you actually go to the CRA woe is right. The crazy thing about this, though, is CRA doesn't actually define what they consider day trading. So that's the part that's the right, that's the hard part. But I agree, Vic, and Vic, welcome. Always good to have you here. Thanks for tuning in during the day. But yeah, I agree with that, because they did go to court. They, and everything else. The judge ruled that he was a trader. Especially, being an investment advisor, you should probably know better than that, you'd think, as an investment advisor. But just be careful. But it's like, back to the article on the CRA websites, it doesn't actually define like a number of trades and everything else. So it really depends. It really depends on how they're looking at it. It would depend on, I think, how you're investing and what your account's doing. They would probably know. I would assume if you're using a platform like Wealthsimple or any other of the trading platforms, you'll probably get a bit of a knock on, a bit of a contact knock on the door from Wealthsimple or whoever you're investing with first, saying, hey, you probably shouldn't be doing this. And I could see them probably actually reporting you eventually, if that's the thing. And they don't, right? They don't define what the terms are. So it's very, very tricky, because sometimes you think like, I want to sell this. These shares, and then whatever, right? You want to move stuff around. Like, you start to. I think if you have to, I think if you have to worry that you're trading too much. If you're trading a lot, that's probably a good way to know you're probably trading too much. It's not meant for that. But I agree, MC. It would be definitely more beneficial to define what the term actually means, and I can see why they probably don't a little bit too. They leave it a bit ambiguous, because I think they can kind of look at individual accounts and go, you're day trading, you're not. I think if it's an investor that they'll probably look at the type of investor you are. They'll know what types of equities or ETFs and everything else that you're buying and selling, and look at what the average person does. Right? Typically, the average person's probably just buying and holding for a period of time, anyways. Or if it's an ETF, they're probably buying it. If it's something like an S&P ETF, they're probably just continually buying it, not going to be selling it, right? So yeah, it's so be careful. Just don't trade a lot. If you want to have, well, if you enjoy trading and all that kind of stuff, play around in your unregistered account. But what Vic actually says, yeah, it does actually mention you can day trade in your RRSP. That was, I think the big thing with that one though is because you will eventually be taxed on that, right? Taking that money out. So I mean, CRA wants to get they want to get their money somehow, and if they're not making it on a TFSA on the withdrawals, then yeah, that's I guess why they're buy. And Vic bought Shopify today. Good call. 1,000 Shopify. That's a big chunk. Good for you, Vic. That's awesome to hear. Good call. On that note, if anybody else bought anything today, let me know. I haven't done anything today. It's Friday. Fridays are always kind of like, well, seem to be volatile days out there for a lot of times. And I usually get any kind of dollar cost averaging purchase is kind of done at the beginning of the week is when I do it, as opposed to, it was kind of earlier this week that I did. I caught up on my week prior and did all my buys and stuff like that. So, Chris, good morning. It's okay if you miss some time. Tuning in is just tune in when you can. We're just here to hang out basically today. So it's always good to have you tuning in. Yeah. And then, yeah, so if anybody else bought anything today, let me know. It's always good to hear what people are doing. We haven't had some of the, I haven't seen Zach for a while, but I'm going to assume he's still carrying on with his XEQT purchases. And I mean, I did my regular VDY, VFE this week, and topped up a couple of other of my positions with a deposit, but that was it. Nothing super crazy. Just kind of taking it slow and steady, which is the way to go, I think, right now. Working for me. A little bit update on the channel is always good to talk about. Views are picking up, and subscribers are picking up, which is awesome. And I think that's always kind of a good positive sign for investors, people getting more interested. So I think that's kind of a good sign for the market. Hopefully, it's nice to see new people that are joining in. We usually get a couple new people on the live stream that are watching. So if you're new and haven't said hi, by all means say hi. Don't be scared. You have to be subscribed to be able to say hi on the chat, but go ahead, hit subscribe and join along. It's a good crew of people. So on the channel going forward, rebranded, I guess. A new air horn. We could maybe work something in the air horn. Turn into a DJ show, Nadia. New people, yeah. If it's your first time, we'll give the air horn for the first person that comes into the room, and if we see some new. If we see some new faces, I guess we can give them the air horn too. It's too funny. I wish I could hear it though when it plays. Then I would know that it's going properly. MC, I did read that as well, kind of this morning. That's what's kind of hitting the market a bit more hawkish tone, right? I saw an article. Let me see if I can find something on that. They did kind of talk about that. I think I read that actually on Twitter. Someone had a thread about it. Let me just see here. Let's just see here. AMD. I probably can't find it now. Hawkish Fed. Oh, right on the top. Oh, it's a video. Let me just see. No, it's a video. Let me see if I scroll down and find anything. Yeah, because of the labor numbers. Yeah, it's a video. Unfortunately, that popped up with my news. I don't have a ton of pages open, but I did see that. And then there was, the big thing with that is what's going to happen with Canada, right? Down the road. I mean, Bank of Canada's kind of said they're going to pause in March, which I think we still are going to have. Let me know your thoughts if you think we're going to see maybe that change a little bit, but I think we'll have a pause, and I think we won't. I kind of think we're not going to see any kind of prime rate increases if we're getting increases. Probably till later after. I'm thinking kind of later after the summer, September-ish maybe. I think the Bank of Canada really wants to see how the impact of the rates that they've done start to pan out, and I don't think they want to over tighten, and over increase, because I think it's just now starting to kind of really hit. You read all these articles with people. A big thing Canada is with mortgages, right? With variable rate mortgages, and obviously fixed rate mortgages have gone up too. If you're having to renew a mortgage right now, it's getting more expensive. So that's just that kind of thing just takes so much time to get worked into the system to see what they have to do. And that's the thing. It's kind of like pause with conditions, right? And so you leave it open to keep rising. But I think we're guaranteed March we're guaranteed to have no kind of change, because that's what they've kind of indicated, right? And I don't think things have changed necessarily that much to kind of say we're going to keep raising rates. This could change with what happens down in the States with the next with their thing, but. And that's exactly it, right? The housing tongue-tied here. The housing leverage here makes it hard to keep going. If they don't keep rising along with the US or the Canadian dollar, we'll definitely weak and get suffer for that one. It's it wouldn't be. The housing, and Nadia, I know you work in the business, so no one wants a variable rate right now, just in case prime keeps increasing, despite hints of pause. They're hinting pause, but I think it's even still higher, right? If the variable rate is still priced higher, I think if you work it out, probably over 1% over a fixed rate. So it's like, why would you take it? It doesn't necessarily make sense. More of the times people took floating rates because they were cheaper. Right, not the case anymore. So I think people will be scared off of variable rates for probably a long time in Canada. And then what'll happen is what happens is people take a 5-year fixed term, and then they find out what the penalty is when they have. You remember all the news articles from years ago when rates started dropping, and the penalties for people that were in fixed rate mortgages to try and get out of them to take advantage of lower rates, and the penalties were just exorbitant. These interest penalties. So you can't win. You can't win when you have to borrow money, it seems. And Chris, you got my other channel. Yeah, a good eclectic mix of videos on my other channel. So yeah, thanks for subscribing to that one. That's awesome. Yeah, those streams they bring back memories of a well, it was a terrible time, but it was a good time too. Those were a lot of fun. A good way to connect with friends and family during that time. It worked pretty good. I did those for. Oh gosh, I did those. I'd have to look. I did those for a few months, I guess. Yeah. Oh, Ian, welcome. Yeah, give me variable prime -2, and I'm in. I think if I was in the market to buy, and there was a prime -2, I think I would probably jump at that too. But those don't exist. That's for sure. The spreads down are not that great. I mean, some people I know are sitting on decent discounted variables, but with the prime rate increase so much, they're still not looking great. That's the problem. Good call, MC. Yeah, I'll read there's more and more stories about people who are making it hard, are hard to make end meet, who are on variable, but not enough relatively to pause rates, in your opinion. Okay. Yeah. I read an article yesterday on, let me see if I can, I read it after the live stream. It was a couple in Ontario that bought a property there, and they did variable, right? Everybody wanted people were buying houses like they buy cars, right? They're buying the payment, not the payment, not the not the house. And it's variable rate, and I think their mortgage payment was up. If I remember correctly from the article, it was a couple. They both work. They both make good money from what the article said. And their mortgage payment, I think, was up $1,600 a month from when they first got it. That's substantial. Whether you say you can afford it or not, like, you know, that is a substantial amount of money that isn't going other places, right? I mean, if you had another $1,600, you could possibly put it into a retirement savings or education savings for your kids. I mean, they didn't have kids, they said, but they worked full time. And then they were working weekends, like gig, you know, kind of doing, I think they were doing delivery, like Uber Eats or something like that, or whatever that other food one is, skip the dishes, deliveries to kind of get some extra cash to be able to bring that in. But I think that's the thing. It's, and that's what we do. And I mean, bubbles and hype, there'll always be people who struggle, but relatively small amounts overall. I think that is correct. It's the nature, right? Don't get sucked into FOMO by any means, but that's what a lot of people did, right? They were into that. It's like any investment. You get sucked into the euphoria, right? And I think people were treating housing more as like it's always going to go up. It's a great investment. Buy now. And you know, it's unfortunate because you know, the prices got ridiculously expensive. They're still expensive, but then rates went up, you know, up substantially, and it's tough. It's tough for people, but that again, it is a small. You always hear the article. It's the thing about the news, right? You always hear the negative articles, right? You're not hearing about the people that, you know, have bought 10 years ago, that have a fixed rate, that have paid off their mortgage and continue on, but have also, you know, cut back on certain things to make ends meet. You know, you don't hear the good stories and how people have, you know, adapted to stuff like that. But what happens? People got sucked in, right? They got sucked into buying a house. 2020, you know, then you go out and you get a new house, and then you know, everything's great, rates are low. You go finance a brand new car because the interest rate is 0%, but you still have to pay these bills when they come through. But the stress test was at the time, right? The mortgage stress test was lower than the current variable rate, so it was a way for people to. The increase is having quite the impact on payments, yeah, and it was easier. This is why I think a lot of people went into variable rates, because they wanted to. With the way the benchmark rate worked of qualifying, you could qualify for more purchase price using the benchmark rate on a variable versus a fixed rate. So it forced people to kind of go variable for a lot of people. You could always lock into a fixed rate later, which was kind of silly. Like, it just didn't. For better or worse, that benchmark rate was kind of screwy for a little bit. So. That was the article that I read. The same article. MC. It was in Ontario, London, Ontario, and they said everybody's telling them to buy, and that's true. People don't. I mean, no one grabbed your hand and made you sign on the dotted line, and you have to be careful what you have to do what's right for you, and not what other people are saying, especially if it's salespeople, you know, like, I mean, pick on a realtor. I mean, they're always going to tell you it's a good time to buy because it's their commission in their pocket. Why would they say it's terrible, you know? But there's people on my side of the industry that have said, like, no, you know, it doesn't make sense. So it's there. So bubbles are brother, and we haven't seen. It's not hard to get tempted. It isn't, right? People overestimate the tolerance for risk is a big thing, and you find that out if you're overconfident. Yeah, you find that out. Yeah, nobody's special, and you find that out the hard way, right? You learn lessons the hard way, unfortunately. So, I mean, you never want someone to lose their home or anything like that, but you have to kind of take some. Also, people have to also take responsibility for what they got themselves into, right? And it's like any investment. If you sometimes you sell for a lot, you know, you might lose money. You don't want to lose money on a house because if you still owe a large mortgage, you have to pay that back. You know, you can't sell a house without paying back the lender. So yeah, just unfortunate. Good call, Chris. Good question in there as we transition over. But keep the comments coming; it's always appreciated. How hard is it to transfer TFSA from TD to Wealthsimple? I hardly even do that. I hardly even add to TD anymore duty fees. So if you have it, this is exactly what I actually did, Chris, to my account. Now you can transfer it. They have a couple options. It really depends on what product you're wanting to use with Wealthsimple. But I transferred over some investments that were registered from my financial institution to the invest side of Wealthsimple, and it was very smooth. You could do it all online online through the app, and there's a form that you have to kind of electronically sign for them. What it does, it might be different if you're owning a self-directed account. I can't speak for that, but what it did for I had it in investment account. So an investment account, you have to sell, it basically cashes out your investments where you are, transfers over in cash to a registered account, and then they reinvest it in their product. Now, there should be a way to transfer transfer equities. You'd have to probably contact, I think, Wealthsimple to probably do that if you have separate accounts. I know there's fees involved usually, and if it's onto the invest side, I know Wealthsimple paid my fee, and I think I got a bit of cash back, if I'm not mistaken. It was a couple of years ago now, so I'm not sure, but it was a fairly easy process. It took about a week by the time everything had settled and everything else, for the most part. And good call from MC there regarding TD to Wealthsimple. Make sure you transfer in kind. So yeah, don't if it's in some type of registered product, don't withdraw it and then contribute, because if you withdraw from an RSP, you're going to pay taxes, and then you're going to put it back in your RSP. You're going to lose out on that. And if it's the same, if it's with the TFSA, you lose your contribution room, right? So you want to make sure you transfer it through. Yeah, MC, and I think on the fees, they do cover the fees if it's, I think, brought over to their invest side. I don't think on the self-directed side it does, depending on what you have your investments in, but it was a pretty painless process to get it over for me to get over the invest side. It was took a week, basically. Oh, and there you go. For Chris, there is a TD Easy Trade, which is pretty new, similar to Wealthsimple. So that might be something to look at too. So there we go. And they're both self-invested. Oh yeah, there you go. So you got a message from Wealthsimple, and they pay the fee and give a bonus. So I would talk. TD's going to try and keep you, but maybe it's probably, from what I've understand, it's a pretty straightforward process. The transfer to the invest side was painless. I can't imagine that the one to the self-directed side would be any harder, and it was pretty straightforward. I don't think I actually even had to talk to anybody on the phone. It was actually pretty good. Yeah, and back to there. People do. You have to be. You learn the hard way. But yeah, that's the thing with people playing victim. There's a lot of that happening, I think, in Ontario right now with some of those housing protests. I don't know the market as much in Ontario, but I saw some of those pop up, and this, it's like the squeaky wheel gets the news, right, and everything else. So you never like to have hear anybody lose money, but if it's an investment, you have to learn from it, right? I mean, you don't want to hear anybody losing money from a scam. That's completely different. But you never want people's investments to lose money either. I mean, you don't wish that on anybody, but you can't play. You have to know what you're putting. If you knew what you were doing and putting your money into something legitimate, you have to learn. And meaning, they might not. You might never learn. That's the thing. Nadia, good question. This will be, hopefully MC will be able to answer this one. So you're meeting a new financial planner next week to move your investment. So you're moving it from your current advisor. Okay. What's the difference between an MFDA and an IIROC license? I do not know. Google might be able to search in that right direction. I do not know. MC might be able to help us out with that one. They're the knowledgeable one. I'll leave that to there. Oh, there we go. And you've already got the comment as we as I get it popped up later. Perfect. Oh, there you go. There's your answer. So not sure if there was a difference, but they have consolidated. So there maybe isn't a difference anymore. There we go. Awesome. MC is always able to help with some of these more technical question. Yeah, there we go. Transferring, yeah, it is. I found it really straightforward when I did it, and I think from what I've heard, I've talked to customer service a couple times on Wealthsimple for a couple things, and the customer service has been pretty good too. Not to just shill them all the time, but they've been good. They've been good for me for any kind of things I've had. So, and thanks. There we go. Thanks. Perfect. Oh, okay, I'll leave that there. You don't want me to get licensed as a financial advisor anyway. I have no desire to get licensed as a financial advisor as well, at all. It actually doesn't really. I've never actually thought of it, but I guess it doesn't really necessarily interest me. One of my coworkers' wife has her securities license, and she works for a large investment firm. But it seems like too much work and tests to go through. Now, I think when I'm, what am I, 47 now? I don't think I want to do no changes. Yeah, no changes for me. Happy with what I'm doing. I don't want to necessarily go back to school at 47 for that anyways. It was bad enough going back to do more education when I was in my 30s, let alone doing it now. I don't think I don't think I'd be disciplined enough to go and have to study for courses. That's for sure. Yeah, no, not for me. That's too good. These go fast when everybody's chatting. It's awesome. I appreciate everybody. I don't think I even got in. I started to do my kind of channel update, but I didn't get into. As we see, I'll get to this as I lose my train of thought with comments. It's awesome. Keep firing them away. Is it at Matami? I think I'm maybe pronouncing it wrong. Matami Homes or something like that. There are people who bought pre-build and now can't close, and they want the government to step in and help. I mean, I think that's just ridiculous. I'm with you there. I mean, I pay taxes like everybody else. They should go bust. Let the developer go after them with what they have. I mean, they got into things. I think there's one person that had bought 2 properties there or something like that, and they're complaining about it because rates are too high now and they can't close on them and the values are down. It's like, well, why did you buy 2 properties? That's just speculation right there, right? And you speculate, you invest, you got bit, and that's what can happen with investments. I think they have to work, and I think from the sounds of what I've kind of read on it too, is the developer is sticking to their guns in terms of prices and everything else, because they've locked in contracts and prices with what they have to build the house for at the time, right? It is Matami, there we go. Yeah. And it's, the developer, it's pure speculation. It's got greedy. They were just hoping to probably, assign that contract, flip it and make whatever X amount and call it a day and be happy about it. And it didn't work out like that. You get caught. That's how you learn, Good call. So thought about going CFP certification. Okay, but the industry, yeah, it is kind of entrepreneurial. It's like business. It's like if it's commission or however if you're charging fees or what. I mean, I don't really know how they all. Some were for fee, some are probably commission. It definitely is it's just like a sales job, right? So you have to kind of pound pavement and drum up clients, and yeah, not for everybody, and also not just depending on what you're doing now. If everything's good and working for you, then you don't necessarily need to. It's hard to switch careers. I mean, I don't know how old you are, MC, but I can speak for myself. It's like it's difficult to as you get older, right? Well, you partly get set in your ways is a big thing, but for switching careers and stuff like that is hard. Kind of the older you get, right? Because you have bills, you have payments, you have car, that kind of stuff, and family and friends and different things. So to move around for different jobs is hard. That's what I always say. Like I'm so fortunate with what I work from home. I've worked from home for years, and I always joke with friends, like I don't think I could work a regular. I don't think I could work I have a job, but I don't think I could work like a regular job where I'd have to go to the office every day or even a few days a week. Like I don't think I would survive in the corporate world of finance, of having to go into a bank or into an investment firm or something like that all the time. Couldn't do it. I work my days. I work, sometimes if I work weekends, that kind of my own kind of schedule a lot of times. But I couldn't be, punching a clock at a regular job by any means. So especially not after you get used to it. I think get spoiled in some ways. To kind of do my own, you do your work, but you also get to do your, you get to kind of do your own thing. No one can say you can't go do laundry or, do the dishes or start dinner early, that kind of stuff, or head out for an hour and no one knows you're gone. So, yeah. Let me just go back and scroll up if I've missed any comments. I don't think I have. Perfect. If I've missed your comment, let me know, but I think I got everybody. I did. Perfect. I was talking a little bit about the channel because I mentioned subscribers growing, which is awesome. It's always kind of fun to talk about. That is monetization's the big question. It's like so close. I keep checking it. It comes through every day. It kind of updates on the back end of my YouTube. Happy to report less than 80 hours to go. So 80 watch hours on the channel. So I think the goal is by the end of February. So I think that's attainable. So that's my goal. That's what I've put out there for a couple of live streams already. So that's what I'm going to kind of aim for. We'll get a few more. We'll get the channel up. We'll do the portfolio update after the markets close today, because it's Friday. I'd like to get one up at some point during the weekend. I'll try and figure out another kind of video and topics. And if I know a lot of people kind of mention, but I always kind of say mention in the chat or in the comments if you want any kind of particular videos or want to hear anything about it in a particular video. I haven't done a Q&A for a while. I could always get something like that. I'll post it on the community tab if people have ideas. It's always kind of good to hear what people are looking for other than, portfolio updates and these live streams. I don't go deep into the deep dives of different companies. That I leave for Candace. Candace not here, under the weather still, but she does a great job on that. And that's not the direction I kind of want to go with the channel. More so live streams, kind of interaction that way. But I could. Well, you know what? Dank Magic, welcome. The Fireplace. We've rebranded the live stream, so it's the Coffee Crew now. So I could maybe find. I don't know. I could maybe find at the end or the beginning maybe some like coffee shop groove music or something like that to kind of relax. Maybe some scenes of some scenes of like a steaming cup of coffee at in a coffee shop to kind of keep us. Maybe some jazz, something like that to kind of go. That's the plan. So we'll have there you go, coffee shop for the Coffee Crew. We could do that. A bustling coffee shop maybe at the end of the day to kind of tune out to, work to. It was named, so the crew, it's Coffee Crew. So I think it kind of works better. So we kind of rebrand a little bit. And then we'll do that. I'll work that out. I have to figure that out. I'm still kind of learning this new live stream system. We do have the intro and stuff, but it's a bit more technical than what I was using for StreamYard because I'm trying to save that. I'm saving that subscription money from StreamYard. So this system works good, but it's a bit more of a learning curve. It's not like it's like a free open source software that I use. It works pretty well, but it takes a bit longer to kind of figure out where to put stuff and how to do certain things on it. It's not like a login, click play, or click go live and go. It's a bit more technical to kind of get it going. So I'm learning that slowly, but we will keep going on the live streams, even though after the goal is for, like I said, 4,000 hours. And there's coffee shops here that play like modern indie covers of old classics. Okay, well, we'll try not to get the pretentious music. I think maybe just some just some coffee, kind of relaxing, groovy, to kind of ease us into our day, maybe at the end of the stream for a few minutes with the fireplace. Or maybe we'll have a vote. I don't know, but it's I guess coffee by a fireplace kind of works too. I guess, if you think about it that way. I wish I had an actual fireplace. I think if I ever moved to a house, I would want to get a fireplace, like an actual one, because it's nice. I've got family that have a wood burning fireplace, and it's nice in the wintertime to have a fire going and heat up the house. Something about a fireplace. Yeah, good call, Chris. Weekend or weeknight live streams have more live viewers, people working. That's true. You go. I know for me, I only go live 1 week a month with my work schedule. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good call. I've thought of that actually. Candace has actually said she's going to come back on one of the weekend live streams. We'll do it with me. So we'll probably do that on a Saturday coming up, but good call. Maybe start to do that a bit later. The problem with during a weeknight is usually like by the end of the day, I've worked all day, and it's not always easy for me to get on to do live streams. And I'm usually because I'm on the phone a lot during the day, or in front of my computer all day. By the end of the day, I usually like to kind of shut off and kind of tune out. But I think a weekend one would definitely be doable. Would be definitely doable. Dividend Duck, yeah. So 4,000 watch hours for monetization. Almost there. The goal is by the end of the month. Yeah, which is awesome. It's awesome how the channel is growing. It's pretty cool. I never kind of thought, the goal of the channel is to get 1,000 subscribers. And I did it. I mean, I started the channel more to kind of keep myself accountable to try and meet that goal, which is, still a long way down the road, but it's at least by sharing it, I find, and doing these streams and doing the videos, it keeps me focused in terms of keeping at it, because you do maybe different challenges, right? Like StreamYard challenge for a year. That kind of thing keeps me going into the investing, and also with doing the dollar cost averaging this year. I get consistency, and so this channel helps me do that. So yeah, I agree with the fireplaces. Yeah, our old house had one too. We didn't use it a ton, but yeah, you'd have to get it kind of clean once a year if you used it a lot. Gas ones aren't the same. My mom has a gas fireplace right now, but I know there's some different gas fireplaces that look quite real, but not quite the same as a wood fire. Something to be, I don't know. I always like when I go, like you go camping and stuff like that, when you can have, sometimes obviously during the summer when it's fire season and there's the fire bans, you can't have the wood outside fireplace, right? But I have like a outside fire. It takes propane, and it's like one of those fire pit with lava rock, and it kind of goes. It's nice, but it's not the same. It's just nice. You kind of you chop the wood. It gives you something to do, right? You got to chop the wood. You got to light it, kindling, keep it going. Gives you something to kind of do, and kind of watch and push it and poke it and all that kind of stuff. But not the same. And my mom, like I said, has a gas one, but it's just like you just turn on the switch and it goes. It's just kind of not the same. Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate actually quite a few people watch the replays. When I look back on statistics, I mean, a lot of people join live. We kind of get more and more each each time, which is awesome. And but then we kind of get like the same number or more people that will tune in on the replays. And replays, I understand, aren't always as exciting as being live with the able to go back and forth, right? But there might be a few kind of, I always kind of say, encourage people to at least scrub through it, because there might be some nuggets of information in there that are beneficial. So if you can also it's unfortunate that I do a daily thing, so we don't really necessarily focus on a topic all the time. That's maybe something that I could work on in terms of getting that out there, so people as they know before they're going to the replay kind of know what we're talking about. We do that in some respects. Like if there's a meeting with the Bank of Canada, if there's a meeting with the Fed, we'll talk about things like that. But for the most part, things just kind of go where they go. But every replay watch is appreciated. That's awesome. Yeah. And it's exactly it. It's the smell. It's the ambulance. Gas just doesn't do the same. And you end up smelling. I mean, not so much in the house, but I know with camping, you end up smelling like a campfire after a weekend of camping, and everything smells like campfire. But it's kind of nice. It's just nice to sit by the fire and make a coffee or whatever, if you have a drink or something like that. It's just nice to sit and it's kind of just relaxing. That's one thing I like about getting outside and going camping is it there's no hopefully no music going around from the other campers and stuff like that, but it's usually fairly quiet, and you can sit, have a coffee, have the fire going, and just kind of zone out and relax. It's a nice way to spend the weekend, especially after like a busy week. If it's good. There's even times I've gone because I'm so close to a lot of parks here. Is you can sometimes even go after work one day for a night, and just pack the tent up and go for a night, have a dinner out there and whatever, cook hot dogs or something on the fire, and yeah, it works quite well. All right. Well, there we go. We're coming up towards the end here. I always appreciate everybody that takes their time to join in. And like I said, we get more and more people every time. So that's awesome. I'd like to do that. If I guess on the note, like I know that Chris had mentioned about watching replays and stuff. If there's, the time works good for me, but I'm wondering. Obviously, I'm West Coast. It's so hard, right, to kind of get a perfect time for everybody on a live stream. That's the hard part. So I think the mornings will, I've thought about possibly starting it later, but then the problem is I start work kind of starts going at 9 if I'm busy, but that's the hard part with mornings. So I think the mornings work good, but I'll take those suggestions with and possibly try and work in some maybe some afternoon ones, even if it's once a week. Do a midweek kind of check-in, or maybe even change some of maybe because I do the portfolio kind of updates. I could always share the screen on here and do it on the web, and do a portfolio update. Do it as a live stream might be kind of fun to do. It just comes down to time. That's the hard part. There's never enough time in the day to do everything that you want to do, and that's unfortunate. So, but definitely we'll be getting a weekend stream, and we'll get it scheduled with enough time. Once Candace, I know she's not feeling the greatest right now, so we'll get it scheduled within enough time, so everybody can kind of plan around what's happening. On that note, as well, with streams, I've always mentioned, if anybody wants, I know there's a few people that were starting their channel that do watch the stream, and if you're watching maybe on the replay, because there's a number of other Canadian kind of YouTube channels that I follow and watch, and I think everybody else does here too. If you wanted to come on as well, let me know. Send me an email. It's on my about page. You can shoot me an email if you're interested. If you have a channel that you want to, plug your channel, talk about what you do on your channel, I'm more than happy to do it. I mostly kind of follow. There's mostly people that have joined this are obviously on the investing side, so that fits with our topic. But you're welcome to come on board, and we could even tie that into a different time. If we have it scheduled, we'll make it happen. That's all I got, everybody. It's Friday. It's yeah. I can one weekly weekend one. Yeah, I could. I mean, I could. It's hard to. It's going to be hard to do a week. Yeah, it's a schedule. It's always hard to kind of do all the time because you plan. I mean, I do. It's the big thing is, I mean, you do all week, and sometimes it's nice to have a bit of a break, right? But yeah, I mean, even if it's just maybe a weekly once a month or something like that, it would have to be. I'd have to figure out timing. I don't want to step on toes as well, because I know there's some Candace does her live stream at 1:00 on Sundays, which I like to tune into. So it wouldn't be on necessarily a Sunday, but maybe like a Saturday morning coffee chat would be all right, just to kind of see maybe where it goes. That's possible. Yeah, I'll put a poll. Chris, that's a good call. It's nice to hear the feedback from people, but I'll put a poll up later on in the channel, and people can kind of vote if maybe like a Saturday or Sunday, if they'd be into it, and what time kind of works well, because you want to kind of, grab people. I think from looking at my stats, most people actually watch or kind of on the channel on Sunday afternoons, actually. That's when the majority of people, I guess everybody kind of does their weekly thing, and then at the weekend on Sunday kind of must hit YouTube to see what's happening with investing for some reason. It seems to be a Sunday is popular. It's kind of shifted. It used to be later on weekdays, but now it's shifted to kind of Sundays for whatever reason that is. So there we go. Always noted, though. Always appreciate it. Love the feedback. And let's leave it at that for Paul. That's if you're heading out, Paul, have a great weekend. Always good to have you here. Appreciate all your comments, all your views. Have a great weekend. Yeah. So you watch the others as well. Yeah. And that's what I kind of do. I kind of go in, like what I kind of do through the week is a lot of times as I watch YouTube, I'll save later, watch later, and then I kind of catch up sometimes when I have a bit more time. It's either at night or it's on the weekend. I usually watch more catch up on the weekend, but everybody's kind of different. Awesome. Appreciate it. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. It's coming up to 9, so I do have to kind of take off, go to work. It's Friday, TGIF. I will be posting again. Like I said, I'll do a portfolio update video after markets close today. I'll have to kind of take a look before I see. I haven't really looked too much. Wasn't looking too great this morning. We'll see how things pan out before the end of the day. But if you're buying or selling or doing anything today, happy investing to everybody. Always appreciate everybody tuning in. It is Friday, TGIF. Have a great weekend, everybody. On your way out, don't forget to hit like, do all that good YouTube stuff. It really helps out the channel. And I'll have a live stream scheduled later on for today. We'll be back on Monday morning. So that's all. Have a great weekend.